Hey guys, I'm Nikki Sizemore. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making a vegetarian breakfast strata. So this is one of my very favorite special occasion breakfasts or brunches. Hello, Mother's Day! But to be honest, it's also one of our favorite weeknight meals because it's so easy to make and it's really versatile. This strata is also a lot healthier than most strata recipes because of a secret ingredient, which I'll share with you in just a minute. So usually when you make a strata, you assemble it the day before and then bake it off. But I always forget to do that. So I designed this recipe so that it could be assembled and baked right away. Now this is a one pan situation. So the first thing we're going to do is toast up some baguette. You could use a gluten-free baguette or a regular baguette. That's going to help to dry out the bread so we can soak up the eggs as well as give it more flavor. And then we're going to saute off our vegetables. Now this is where you can really get creative and just clean out whatever's in your vegetable drawer. I'm keeping things simple today with leeks and garlic, some fresh thyme and frozen defrosted spinach, but really you could use broccoli or cauliflower or peppers or onions. So make this your own according to what you have and what you like. Now as far as the egg filling goes, instead of using heavy cream and loads of cheese, which is what you find in most stratas, we are going to use cottage cheese. And this is the secret ingredient because the cottage cheese is going to provide a lot of richness and creaminess without weighing things down. Pop it in the oven and then bake it until it's golden and puffed. You can serve this strata warm or at room temperature. It is just as delicious with fresh fruit and coffee as it is with a salad and a glass of wine. All right, I can't wait to get cooking, so let's head to the kitchen. And don't forget to subscribe below so that you don't miss out on any of my easy from scratch fast recipes. So cottage cheese is definitely having a comeback, which makes me so excited because I've always loved to eat it as a healthy snack. It's high in protein and high in calcium, but did you know that it is also fantastic to cook with? So I'm so excited to have partnered with Hood Cottage cheese for this video. Today we're using Hood Cottage cheese with chive, which you guys is seriously so good. Stay tuned until the end because I'm also going to share one of my favorite no-cook snacks. But let's get started on the strata. A strata is kind of like a frittata, but with bread. And the beauty of using bread is that it soaks up the egg filling, getting nice and soft and creamy in the middle, and then toasted and crunchy on top. And it's just pure heaven. So I am cutting up a baguette. You can use a gluten-free or a regular baguette. Cut it up into 1-inch pieces, and then you want to measure out 3 cups. We only need 3 cups for this recipe. I always keep a baguette in the freezer for last-minute recipes like this. As I mentioned, this is one of our favorite weeknight dinners, and the kids love it too, and it's a perfect way to use up, all of those odds and ends that are lingering in our fridge at the end of the week. Now that my bread is prepped, let's talk veggies. I am using leeks, and to clean a leek, you want to cut it in half and then make sure to get in between the layers because they tend to be gritty. I love leeks because they're sweet and they cook up quickly, but you can by all means use onion here or shallots. Again, whatever you have on hand or whatever you like. I'm also adding garlic. You know me, I've got to add some garlic. So I'm adding 2 cloves. I just give them a smash to remove their skins, and then I'm going to finely chop the cloves. Now for some thyme. I love fresh herbs. Be sure to check out my green sauce video to see how I store fresh herbs. They just add so much vibrancy and flavor to dishes. You could use dried herbs here instead, but you want to cut the quantity in half because dried herbs are more pungent with a stronger flavor. Now that everything is prepped, let's start cooking. I've heated my 10-inch cast iron skillet over medium heat, add a tablespoon of olive oil, and then add those bread cubes. Our first step is to toast up these bread cubes. I like to give them a little sprinkle of salt just for a little more flavor, and you just want to cook these for a couple of minutes, stirring them often until they are lightly toasted and crisp. That is going to help them to soak up that egg custard. Transfer the bread cubes back into a bowl or onto a plate, and then you want to wipe out the skillet. Add another tablespoon of olive oil, and it is time to saute our veggies. I am going to add them all at once. Since those leeks are so quick cooking, I can add the garlic at the same time. If you're using onions, give the onions a jump start. Let them start to soften before adding the garlic. Otherwise, the garlic could burn by the time the onions are tender. Once all the veggies are nice and soft, remove the pan from the heat. Today I'm using frozen defrosted spinach. What I did is put the spinach in a colander and pressed out as much liquid as possible, then wrapped it in paper towels and really squeezed it dry because you don't want your strata to have any excess liquid. That'll make it soggy. No one wants a soggy strata. Now be sure to season with some more salt and pepper. Whenever you're cooking, you want to season as you go. You really want to build up as much flavor as possible. Next, let's add those toasted bread cubes. You just want to stir these in until everything is evenly combined. It is time to make that egg filling, and this couldn't be easier. So we are going to use 8 large eggs, just crack them into a large bowl. Whenever I'm using eggs like this, I like to get in there with a whisk and break them up before adding the other ingredients. This is going to ensure that we get a nice, smooth texture. Now for some milk, I have 3/4 of a cup of milk. You could use low-fat milk, you could use whole milk, whatever you drink. I am going to reach back for my salt and pepper. You want to be generous with your seasonings, as always. They're going to give the strata lots of flavor. Now, most strata recipes have you use cups of grated cheese, but here I'm just going to whisk in a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. That is all we need because we're gonna get that creamy richness from the cottage cheese. Speaking of which, I am adding my Hood Cottage cheese with chive. I love this product because it is really hard for me to find fresh chives at the market that I shop in. So this gives me that chive flavor without having to buy a separate container of chives. If you can't find the Hood Cottage cheese with chive, you could always use their plain cottage cheese and just whisk in a tablespoon of fresh chives instead. Okay, we are ready to assemble our strata. Now this can go straight into the oven, but if you wanted to do this step the night before, you could assemble the strata, cover it, throw it in the fridge overnight, and then bake it off in the morning. But it is going to be just as delicious if we throw it in the oven right now. You just want to stir everything up and make sure all of the bread is submerged in that custard. Oh man, I'm getting excited. One more thing, we are going to sprinkle a little bit more of that grated Parmesan cheese on top. This is going to add a little bit more flavor and give the top of the strata a nice kind of crunchy golden appearance. Bake the strata in a 350-degree oven until it is golden and puffed and the eggs are set. It'll take anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. My kitchen smells amazing. I wish you guys could come over. Now, as much as you might want to dive into this right away, you want to give it at least 5 to 10 minutes to cool. You can eat it warm or at room temperature. There are a few ways you can serve it. You can just scoop it with a big spoon right out of the skillet. I love to slice it into beautiful wedges. This strata is so crispy on top, and just look at that center. We've got the spinach and the leeks, and the bread is just soft and silky and custardy. This is such a healthier version of a traditional strata, but I promise you it is just as satisfying. Perfect for a weeknight dinner or a nice leisurely weekend brunch. Okay, remember that snack I was telling you about? Well, here it is. You guys, this Hood Cottage cheese with chive, well, it kind of tastes like onion dip in the best kind of way. I love to spoon it over sliced cucumbers. You've got that cool, crunchy, juicy cucumber and that creamy cottage cheese. It's an awesome, healthy snack. Thank you guys for tuning in. I can't wait to hear what you think about this vegetarian breakfast or dinner strata. Be sure to leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe for all my recipes and tips. I'll see you next time.